10 more seconds here.
All right.
And then I'll also send you the link.
What do I do with the link?
You can pull it up on Facebook, and here we are. Hey, everyone. Mike McClary here, and I'm going to mute my own Facebook Live here so you don't hear me talking. I'm with my good buddy Jay right now, and I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. If there's one thing that this proves, it's that two, I don't know what you want to call us, technology noobs like Jay and I can run this business without knowing how to set up a Facebook live stream. Anyone can. So you guys are in for a real treat. I've talked to Jay several times over the years. He was actually one of our speakers at an ASM event, and he was absolutely one of the most favorite parts of the entire 3 days there. Everyone loved this presentation. Before I get going, however, and let you kind of talk to the man there, if you don't mind, post below this video if you can see and hear us, and that way I'll know if everything's going good. And by the way, there is a 15-second delay. So if you see us kind of like taking a few seconds to reply to questions here, that is why it's happening. And Jay, by the way, I just sent you a message inside of your Facebook message. You have the link to this also.
Whoa. Oh.
All righty. And then I'm going to pull this back up myself, make sure that I can see everything here. It looks good to me. I'm going to check the comments below. All right. People can see us and hear us. That is fantastic. So again, this is our second edition of our ASM success story Q&A. I'm actually here with Jay. And how do you pronounce it? Is it Kamhi or Kamhi, or how do you pronounce your last name?
It originally was Kamhi, but when I got married, my wife changed it to Kamhi.
Okay.
So yeah, whatever makes you feel good, Mike.
The things we do for love.
Oh, yeah.
So last week we had John Collins on. I don't know if you got a chance to meet John or not, but
I saw the video. He's great.
Yeah, he's just, he reminds me a lot of you. Very genuine, authentic, smart, successful, but humble. And you know what? Another example of, guys that we're not really these real technology guys selling online. It's guys like you and he and many others that we just, follow the course, and we're sitting where everyone else watching this video was at some point in time, probably 2, 3, 4 years ago. And it really shows that, this business works. But enough of me talking about that.
Actually, John and I were separated at birth. I don't know if you know that.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. John and I do an awful lot alike. I know that. So, so how are things going for you, Jay, right now? Give us kind of a quick view into your life as Jay Kamhi, not Kamhi, and how things are going for you.
Things are going splendid, Mike. They are, compared to where I was a couple of years ago before I started ASM, I'm in a whole different game in everything I'm doing. So it's been wonderful.
Are you wearing your kilt right now? Someone wants to know that.
No, wearing nothing.
Okay. All right. Next topic. By the way, if you're just joining us, I know we had a few technical difficulties. Want to apologize for that. I had some problems on my end. We actually finally, like at 6:01, only a minute late, we figured them all out. We're getting ready to start, and then Jay's computer crashed. So we're having some great luck on this live stream here. But Jay, so when did you actually start selling on Amazon and start with ASM?
I started on ASM, I believe it was ASM 4, 2015. Mm-hmm. And I remember the community that I'm part of here in Florida, a lot of people were getting involved with ASM. Mm-hmm. And I remember a few people were concerned that we missed the boat. There were too many people doing Amazon, and some of them didn't jump on because they felt that there was just no money to be made. What I've discovered over the last couple of years is that even though there are more people trying to take a piece of the Amazon pie, that pie has grown so big that it just can hold so many more people doing what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're absolutely right.
And then of course, the people who kind of stayed on the sidelines 2 years ago, I don't see a lot happening with their lives in terms financially. And I saw a lot of people who jumped in 2 years ago who are making a lot of money today. So it was really, for me, worth the risk of just jumping aboard and doing this.
What were you doing beforehand, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, Mike, I was actually a very important VIP. I controlled hundreds of millions of dollars across the planet. Of course, I'm just lying to you right now. I was a New York City street vendor for most of my life. And I sold for about 15 years on the sidewalks of New York and put my blanket down on the sidewalk and would sell my crazy little toys until the police chased me away or until I got rained on. And if I didn't have umbrellas to sell, then I just, I had the rest of the day off. And gradually I just expanded into selling to small stores and then eventually to bigger stores until I was selling to Walmart, Target, Walgreens, almost all of the chains. And then I found Amazon in 2015 and kind of made a change of life direction.
So you went from street vendor and then you were really growing things and you actually went, sounds like brick and mortar and retail for a while, right?
Yeah, I didn't have my own store. I would create products, novelties. See, my purpose as far as business goes is to make people laugh, to make them smile, to create products where they go, oh, that's so crazy, look at that. And I had a lot of ideas, and people think that Walgreens, Walmart, Target, Spencer Gifts, that's like the holy grail of retail. And I sold to these guys, but you're really only selling to one person, the buyer of that store. And they decide if the consumers get to see your stuff. And at a certain point, I would show them some really innovative inventions that I come up with, and they look at it and go, nah, pass. And I became very frustrated and almost apathetic because my creativity didn't have an outlet anymore. And I kind of stopped making products because I just felt discouraged. And by the time 2015 rolled around, I was sort of broke, didn't have a lot of money anymore because I wasn't producing. And this Amazon, I looked at it as a method for me to express my creativity again, because as opposed to a buyer in a store deciding what was going to be in that store or not, I could take my stuff directly to the end consumer and they were going to decide if they wanted my product or not. So this is sort of what I did before and my motivation for joining Amazon.
Wow, that's amazing. A lot of this, I know I've talked to you before, but I didn't know the entire backstory here. And it comes up a lot of times. People think that the natural progression in this business is start selling on Amazon, grow, sell on your own website, and then hopefully you hit what you said people think's the holy grail in getting into the Walgreens and Walmarts, whatever. But really, I would imagine, I've looked into this, and I'm not in those markets. There's a ton of overhead that comes with selling to those big stores. Am I right?
Totally. You got to keep a lot of inventory, and then they pay you in net 90 in a lot of cases. They say net 60, but then 30 days before they send it out and you receive it. And if there's returns, you got to take back the returns. You've got to give them defective allowances. And then, of course, the shipping department. Some of the shipping departments in these wholesale stores, they actually have an income model where they ding you for, if you put the label on the box the wrong way, they take a deduction. And I know people who paid $50,000 to $75,000 a year just in penalties for putting the labels on the packages wrong. And and you're kind of at their mercy because they've got 100 people who want to submit products to them. So right. This gave me a way out of that trap. And what's really funny, I was talking to Jason Katzenbach about this a few weeks ago. I kind of said, all right, I'm done. I don't want to be in wholesale anymore. And I came out with this Donald Trump talking pen, which shot up to #1 in the Amazon toys and games category. And Spencer Gifts calls me. And I said, okay, I'm not interested. Click, I don't want to do business. So they kept calling. And eventually, I kept giving them these crazy terms that they used to give me. I said, you pay me upfront, no returns. I don't want to hear a word out of you. And you can't sell my product on your website or online at all. I need you to put it all in writing. And they did. They gave me everything I wanted. So it just shows you, like, if you do Amazon correctly, those other doors will open up to you.
That is amazing. Before, they're telling you all these things that you need to give to them, and they're not going to pay you for 3 months. And now, because of your success on Amazon, you're dictating the terms. And it sounds like you're getting your products paid for before you even have to have them made.
It's beautiful.
That really is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, if you don't mind, so what was your first? Well, I don't want to ask your first product, but how many products did you start off with then when you were starting to? You just took the course, learning how to get on Amazon. How many did you initially start selling?
It's really funny because I started with one product, and I spent months trying to get it off the ground, and I failed. Okay, and that's a reality of this. You fail. If you persist through that, you'll make it to the other side and be successful. And I was at a point where I did these, I think it was these amber bracelets, right? For babies, they wear it and it's supposed to like help them with teething problems. Mm-hmm. And I had no passion for that product. And when I failed with it after months, I thought, wow, I spent all this time, and the suppliers were slow getting back to me, and I couldn't, the little Chinese factories that I was dealing with weren't responding, and the quality wasn't what I wanted. So I kind of took a step back and remembered something that Jason and Matt said early on, and they emphasize it more now than they did then, but they mentioned it. What's your passion? What's your purpose? And I thought, is amber bracelets my purpose? No, it's a nice product. And I thought it could make me money, but those are the wrong reasons. You got to do something that you're passionate about, that you have a purpose for, that when you get up in the morning, you're excited to get up because you're going, wow, this is like, I love what I'm doing. And the thing that I always loved was novelties, gags, games, things that made people smile. So I said, all right, that's it. I'm never doing another amber bracelet again. I'm not doing vitamins. I'm not doing Bluetooth speakers. I'm doing what I like, and I'm going to have fun. So when you put that type of purpose there, and I don't want to sound like I'm all hippy dippy and, new agey, but when you put your goal and your purpose on the wall and you go, this is what I'm doing, this is how much I want to make, magic happens. It's almost like the universe starts giving you what you want. And, you meet the person by accident that gives you the exact information you need to get to the next level. Somebody calls you after 8 years of not speaking to you and says, hey, how you doing? And they're doing exactly what you need them to do to help you. And that's what kind of happened. The next product almost fell into my lap. I saw this product. I thought of a way I can make it a lot better. And then I released it onto Amazon, applying only what I knew from the first few lessons of the course. And the first couple of days, I did a couple $100s in sales, and I was thrilled. I was like, wow, I did a couple $100s. Then I did $500. I was like, well, that's cool. Then it jumped to $1,000. And I said to my assistant, are these the summary of all our previous sales? And she said, no, these are new sales. I go, wow. Pretty soon I was doing $5,000 a day, then 10,000. And then it jumped to 20. And then pretty soon I was doing like $35,000 to $40,000 a day. And it was at that point that I quit wholesaling. I said, you know what? Amazon, that's what I'm doing.
How many months after you started selling on Amazon do you think that was about?
Well, the first product took me a few months, and that was a bomb.
Yep.
But after that, the second product, it was a question of maybe just a few, when I finally got it onto Amazon, a few weeks. It was like, it was exploding.
That's incredible. So now I don't want to discourage anyone. People don't always have a product take off and start doing $30,000 a day. But that does show that if you learn what you did, I mean, look what Jay did. His first product, he looks at as, I'm correct if I'm wrong, it's like a learning lesson. He learned all the things how to sell on Amazon. And then at that point, he took his passion and applied it. And look what happened. That's an amazing story. So, a lot of people, and we try to balance.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. That product went to #1 in toys and games. That was the first time I did that. So
was that the pen?
No, it was a whole different product.
Okay.
That was in 2015. The pen went to #1 in 2016. And this actually went to #1 in 2015. And what's funny is after it went to #1, I had some, I don't want to go into problems that I had legally with Donald Trump. I had some issues. He came after me. The long story. Marco Rubio got involved. It got written up in the Washington Post. It was like I was a kind of a, it was a big battle going on. And I ended up ended up having no products on Amazon for Christmas of 2016. And then I had to rebuild from scratch at the beginning of 2016. So yeah, I had the big up. And then I was at the bottom. And it's really funny because people said, yeah, Jay, you got lucky with the first one. That'll never happen again. And I was like so determined to prove them wrong because I know that Jason and Matt's stuff really works. Yeah. I said, I'm just going to apply exactly what I learned and do it again. And then the Donald Trump pen came along and that went to #1 as well.
That's amazing. So you're right. It wasn't a one-hit wonder. So what, are you good with, so a lot of people, when we teach in the training, and we've done this differently before, we used to tell people completely ignore your passions before and just focus on the money. And then this ASM, this version of ASM 7, we've been gone for, a year and a half now. We started telling people and saying that, you know what, we've been there, kind of what you're saying. We've been there where we're selling supplements we don't really care about. And not that, if people are in supplements, don't take that as negative. Some of us just don't want to be in that market because that's not what we're into. But we started telling people, start considering what you are interested in, because that way it gives you a lot of benefits. Like you're an end user, you're a consumer. You can tell whether it's a good product. You'll have more passion. But we have said this one thing that for your first product, don't just focus on your passion because it has to make sense, has to fit the other criteria also.
I agree with that. But there's a happy medium for both of those things. Yeah. The people that I met, I remember one guy said to me, I said, do you like the product? Because he wasn't making any money. Yeah. And I ended up talking to a lot of people after the first ASM, and they come to me and go, I'm not really making any money with this. I go, do you like the product? And I heard, who cares about the product? It's about the money. And I go, no. It is about the money, but it's about the product too. You gotta feel it. Otherwise, why are we doing Amazon? Yeah. Like we could just do a 9 to 5 and get a big paycheck or do something that makes us money. We're doing this because hopefully we want to enjoy our lives every day, and money's part of it, but also really believing in your product is too. Don't do a product if it's like, not going to make you any money. Don't sell rocks. It's got to have something that relates to you.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. It really is. And like you said, think of your why. Why are you in this business in the first place? We're not in this business to sell on Amazon. We're not in this business to make money. There's a different reason we're all in this business for, and it could be, maybe it's what those things provide, or it's just a lifestyle. That's some great advice, Jay. And by the way, I want to say welcome to anyone who's just joined. I know we went up from 20 people to over 75 people are watching us now. If you just joined, I'm here with Jay Kamhi.
Hi.
Hey, everyone. He's super successful, amazing, kind, caring, generous, smart, sharing ASM success story. He's not
Keep going. Come on. More, Mike.
Good looking, handsome, charismatic, energetic. I get $5 every time that I say something nice about him, by the way. And Jay's not someone who's been doing ASM for 4 years like I am. He's only been doing it for 2 years now. He started in 2015. Now, granted, he had a little bit of experience before in getting product sourced because he loves novelty products, making people laugh. But he's not one of those people who's been around for 4 or 5 years, started with ASM started. He was able to really make his big hits once he learned how to sell on Amazon, just like everyone on this call is. So if you're joining us now, feel free, by the way, below the video, pop in any questions that you have. I'm going to continue on here. We're going to have some good conversation back and forth. I took some notes. Going to go. Maybe we might disagree in a few things. Who's more charismatic, and all that. But he'll win easily.
That's you. That's you. Obviously you.
But we're going to get to some questions at the bottom. So feel free right now. Ask any questions. We will get to as many as we possibly can. But I want to ask a couple more questions here. So I made some notes. So it seems to me the one thing that you, not the one thing, but one thing that you might have had probably narrowed down or nailed in before other people is you were sourcing products before you sold on Amazon. Is that correct?
Yes.
So do you have any advice? So a lot of people here, and sometimes even I feel like a noob at this, any advice for people just starting off, they've never done this before, and they're for the first time reaching out to mostly overseas suppliers, any advice to them to really help them find the products, make a good connection, anything you can give to them that'll help them during that whole finding a supplier and sourcing process?
Well, I've sourced products a bunch of different ways. I've gone through agents, and I've gone directly. I've gone through Alibaba, and I would just say take your time in the beginning. Don't jump at the first offer. If you can find a good factory that you can establish a relationship with, I use some of the same factories now that I used 15 years ago. And there's a trust. The Chinese, if they're legitimate factories, I've met some crooks that make horrible stuff. You really want to make sure they're good. But if you find a good factory with a good owner, they treat you as family. They consider you're the brother or the sister. And it's a very beautiful relationship. So you want to cultivate that. And the good ones will actually turn you on to things that their other clients are doing and arrange maybe exclusives that you can have before anybody else gets them. There's a lot of sharing going on. So I just take it slow, make sure that people you're using are good. And again, look at it as a learning experience. Don't be perfect. Just the important thing is to execute and to do.
So are you saying, it sounds like if you can make a personal connection and build a relationship with your supplier, that can go a long way.
Yeah, I have suppliers who actually contact me now with products that they know are going to be hot because they're making similar things for other people. And I feel a little bit like a spy because they're giving me this intel of what other people are doing. But it's an advantage that I have now, so I'm going to use it. And that's the type of thing you get the longer you stay in this business, your relationships become very powerful. Don't screw anybody, build your relationships, and it'll pay off in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great advice. Be ethical and like our parents said, treat people the way you want to be treated. That's great. So let me ask you this. So a lot of our members are sourced in the way that I did. We used Alibaba primarily. That's kind of like the easiest, most straightforward way. We do give them guidance, make sure they're a gold supplier, make sure they've been assessed. Anything else you can look for as far as some gotchas that they might not be a legitimate or ethical supplier to work with?
Yeah, I've got a couple of little things that I do. First of all, it's really important to have good communication. If you find your supplier is slow getting back to you, and if the answers don't make sense, to me, that's a red flag. Now, it's not the only red flag because in some cases, they just don't know who you are and they're a little bit skeptical and wary. But once you see a pattern of slow communication, that's not a good sign. And I tend to look at how fast are you guys communicating back with me? If it's very fast and they're actually answering my questions correctly, that's a good sign. If a supplier doesn't speak the language well and they can't get back to you because they don't speak the language well, sometimes I'll hire an agent who speaks Chinese and can communicate for me. And that's worked well in a few situations as well.
Do you use an agent now for all your purchases over there, or do you still do some just straight negotiating yourself?
Yeah, I have a couple of, sometimes an agent will come to me and goes, I have a great product for you. And I keep them in the loop because these guys are on the ground in China. They know what's happening. They can see things and bring it to you before anybody else will. So I'll cultivate some relationships with really good agents who have their ear to the pavement and can kind of give me good advice on what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then other factories that I have a relationship with, I deal with them directly. So I'll do it both ways.
Okay. And what was that great product and your agent's direct contact phone number?
It's 1-900.
Okay. Darn. I'm going to try to trip you up there. So that's good. So it sounds like having an agent can have a lot of benefits, another relationship to build, but also something you don't have to worry about right now if you're a brand new seller. It's not something you have to limit yourself to.
No, I would say like one of the things that I do, I create a lot of my own products. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have asked me, like, how do you do that? Because for some reason, some people like the idea of creating their own things because it avoids the competitive mess you have when 50 people want to sell the same thing on Amazon. What I do, and I think anybody can do this, is I do the catch a wave tactic. And basically, I look for something in products, like I'll go through the products, and I'll look to see, is there some kind of trend or fad that's happening right now in my product category, which happens to be toys. Maybe it's happening in some other category. And then I ride that wave. I know people who are listening going, yeah, Jay, we all want to ride a wave. It's really good that you're riding the wave. But what I do is I take that wave and I bring it to a different beach. And what I mean by that is I try to find something that's good in one category and change it to a different category, or change it from one type to another type. For example, with the Donald Trump pen, Donald Trump was a trend. He was a wave in 2016. And the products that were out there were basically Donald Trump, Make America Great hats. So people were, saying, well, we'll make our own hat now. And we'll add like a little coupon booklet, or we'll give a Donald Trump calendar and we'll attach it to the hat. But they were basically making a hat. And there were a lot of people selling all different types of hats. So I thought, what if I took the wave of Donald Trump and I put that wave into a whole nother medium? In this case, it was a talking pen. And I captured what people liked about him was his voice, the visual. I made it funny. And that became an item that I had no competition for. And I still to this day have no competition. I didn't have to worry about hijackers jumping onto my site and taking my listing. I didn't have to worry about price wars with anybody. It was a really nice feeling. And anybody out there can do this. Not necessarily now, but something to look down the line for, of looking at where the trends are and figuring out how you can innovate and use those trends in another medium.
That's an incredible piece of advice. We don't talk enough about that, about looking at trends in products. We'd talk about finding the right product at the right time, the right price, the right BSR, the right amount of views, but we don't do a lot of trending other than looking for seasonal products. But I love your approach. And I wrote that down, by the way, find a wave and ride it to another beach. That's going to be a quote I'm going to use as a training video at some point in the future.
Good.
Don't copyright that.
I've already trademarked it. You can pay me my royalty every time you use it. Ka-ching! Another thing that I do. Oh, go ahead.
No. I'll go right on.
Okay. Another thing that I do, and I think this could be helpful to a lot of you guys out there who are just getting into this. First of all, remember the wave, because that'll help you down the road. Think in waves. Think in how I can take one thing and bring it to something else, because that's going to put you in a situation where no one's competing with you. But another thing that I really like is the concept of the mastermind, which I know a lot of people know what a mastermind is. And if you read the book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks a lot about masterminds. And I think for marketing, being on the Facebook groups, being part of the masterminds, you learn a lot. But I apply it a little bit differently. I do product masterminds. I will hook up with a person who has a similar interest as I do and has maybe a complementary skill set, and I get along with, and we have the same goals. And I'll brainstorm with that person and go, you do your Amazon, you have your business, I'm going to do my Amazon, but let's create something together that we share the profits on. I can't tell you how many amazing products have come out of situations like that. I know that there's somebody watching right now. His name is Frank, my buddy. He just joined Amazon, and I decided to do one with him because we both like novelties. And he tells me about a product that I never heard of. I go, wow. He goes, yeah, Jay, it's a real hot trend right now. And I thought somebody should do blank with it. And that ended up being another product for us that we never would have thought of if we hadn't brainstormed together that line. So if any of you guys out there find somebody on Amazon who has a similar interest as you, get together, brainstorm product ideas. It's not going to be 1 + 1 = 2. It's going to be 1 + 1 = 1,000, or 1 + 1 = 1,000,000. The mastermind being the master means big, mind is mind. You create this big mind that's more powerful than either of your minds, and you create these amazingly beautiful items that will make both of you so much money. It's a really great tactic.
That is amazing. I've heard very few people articulate it that way, Jay. So, we talk about masterminds a lot. We talk about people sharing information if they're in the same niche or category. But the idea of a product mastermind is brilliant, and you're living proof that it's working for you. And I imagine that's probably pretty fun for you to do also, isn't it?
It's really cool. I'll just give you 2 examples. Mm-hmm. Years ago, do you remember the product called Silly Bands?
Yep, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. The real rubber bands in the shape of like animals. It was a huge fad. And I was brainstorming with another guy, and I could have looked at the viewpoint, I want to keep all the money for myself. I want to own the rights. But it doesn't work like that. The more you create, and the more you share, and the more you give, and it keeps building, and both of you win. So we brainstormed this idea for, instead of silly bands, rings that go around your finger, silly rings. Mm-hmm. Nobody was doing it. And we took it to Walgreens, we took it to Walmart, and we did millions of dollars worth of this thing. But if we had just been trying to make more different animals of the bands, we would have been competing with everybody else.
Yep.
So the mastermind for products is so powerful. And I don't see anybody doing it, because until you get together with somebody and see the power and the products that come out of a meeting, you don't really think it's going to be worthwhile. But I promise you, if you guys do it, you find somebody that's similar. Now, don't pick somebody who has no interest, like a completely different set of interests as you, or you don't get along with them. Pick somebody who you enjoy being with, who you can talk to on the phone and go have a good time and a good laugh. Those are the people who you're going to create really big things with.
That's amazing. So, speaking of that, we have, well, may I say, where have you met those people? At live events by any chance?
Yeah, I when I talked at the last event, I was wearing my kilt, right? So I had a lot of people approach me to ask me advice, and people were coming up to me going, I have this idea. I'm going, great. I mean, one guy came up to me and he said, I don't know if I can say this. I'll use the word poop, P-O-O-P. Right? He comes to me, he goes, listen, I got an idea. The whole area of poop and novelties, the fake poop, he said, it hasn't advanced in years. And he was angry. Like, he was like, hey, we have to improve the poop. It hasn't progressed. And I just was so amused by this guy. I said, why don't you call me up when you get back home? We ended up talking, and we ended up brainstorming a product. It was a recordable toilet roll talker. Mm-hmm. Now, that had already been out there, but we said, we got this toilet roll talker. You put toilet paper on it, you pull it, and you can record your message, and you pull it, and it talks in the bathroom. So somebody sits down on the toilet, pulls it, and I thought, let's do the strategy of brainstorming together, but also riding a wave, bringing a wave to a different beach. Trump is hot. Trump toilet paper is super hot. You've got 50 people selling Trump toilet paper on Amazon, and they're all like lowering the price. Started at $15 and it was down to like $3. They were almost giving it away. I said, but obviously people want it. Why don't we take Trump's voice and put his voice on a toilet roll talker? So when people pull the roll, they'll hear Trump's voice. And we made that product out of a brainstorm and, product mastermind. And the product became like a really big seller. We were in the top 1,000 with that product, all because of a product mastermind with somebody I met at ASM in 2015. It was great.
That is, by the way, I'm monitoring the comments down here. You have quite a few requests for people saying that they will be gladly mastermind with you on a product.
Yeah.
But I mean, so just for all the viewers out there, by the way, we're with Kamhi again. I'm going to say Kamhi or Kamhi, whatever we want to say this time.
Tomato, potato.
He's here. One of our successful stories. I'm not going to call him an ASM success. He's just a success. This guy would have been successful no matter what. You can just tell by talking to him.
Wow.
He actually, met people, even as one of the speakers on stage. He met people at the live event, did a partnership with them. That's the power of the live event. I got to throw it out there. We have a live event come up end of July. Amazing selling machine. We make no money off this, just so everyone knows. We're just covering the cost. The goal, we have one goal and one goal only. And that is to get as many like-minded, successful people who are already millionaires. They may not have the money, but they are in their mind millionaires in one place to share ideas and learn. And Jay's a perfect example of what can come out of that. You might go there and walk away with a talking toilet paper holder. Who knows? You'll meet someone there.
Mike, it's really interesting because there is, in the business that we're in, there are so many people who will tell you you can't succeed. If it was so easy, everybody would do it. And, the minute you have a slight failure, those people are going to jump out of the woodwork and remind you of all the things I told you. You didn't believe me, blah, blah, blah. This is a scam. You're not going to do well. You have to do something different. And the only thing that saves you from that mentality, because you will have setbacks. You have to. Everybody has. The only thing that saves you, two things. One of them is having your why, like we talked about before. Knowing why you do something. What's the vision? To take care of your family, to give them a better life. Maybe you have parents who are going to get old and they don't have enough to take care of themselves, like my mom. This allows you to take care of the people you want to take care of, and they deserve it. And you deserve a good life too. You really do. Not you, Mike, but everybody else listening. But they deserve a good life, right? And you need a positive atmosphere to re-energize you. And these events, when you're there, you feel the love. You just feel it. Jason and Matt on the stage throwing things, and it's just, you feel the energy, and the group together, you actually draw from that energy and things happen. It's a great place to be. It really is.
Amen. You're so right about that. I always talk about the live events as the most creative, fun, empowering event anywhere you can find in the world. It's amazing. And you're completely reiterating exactly what everyone's talking about. Thanks so much, Jay. Okay, I got to get some more questions here. People are dying to ask you questions.
All right, let's do it.
Here's one. This seems pretty right up your alley because of your type of products. Do you patent your products?
That is such a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. Patents are expensive. They can run thousands of dollars and take at least 2 years to get through. Sometimes a patent, if you are this is really funny, but if you're over the age of 65, or you're in the middle of a pending litigation, they will speed track you and you can get a patent done in about a year. Okay? So if you have somebody who's 65, try to get them involved when you're filing your patent.
I involve Rich Henderson when I need a quick patent. Okay.
Okay. Now, I tend I do patent my stuff. I also trademark my stuff. So trademarking is the easy way, copywriting, but you want to protect your merchandise because there are a lot of pirates out there who will just knock you off. They don't care about you. You got to be able to fight them back, and patents and trademarks are the way to do it.
Okay. Excellent.
And also, just one thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes the people in China who are going to copy you, they don't care about patents. But if you're wholesaling to a store or you're selling on Amazon, Amazon does care. So you're doing the patent to show them, and they'll take care of the guys who are trying to knock you off.
Excellent. Have you gotten provisional patents before you got a regular one?
Yes, because the provisional patent actually saves the date. So you file the provisional, and that's going to give you the earlier filing date. So when you finally go to a regular patent, which might be a year later, you have that earlier provisional date.
Excellent. Okay. And for those who don't know what a provisional patent is, don't worry about it right now. Will, what we're going to do is, after the course is over, we're not going around anywhere. We'll have a lot more talks on IP and what you should be doing for your first product, as long as you've done your research and just check to make sure you're not selling something like an iPhone or a computer that's patented. You do your due diligence, make sure most products are not. If you have something that is like a movie related, NFL, sports, music, stay away from them because those things have trademarks. You should have common sense to know that. But other than that, don't worry about it as much right now. Later on, when you get to the point where you're like Jay and you're really starting to blow up your business, you're starting to drive with your passion, developing your own products, your product lines, that's when you really want to start taking care of your intellectual property, like Jay said.
Right. And it just starts with one product. You got to get your first product out there, and you got to execute your steps. Just keep doing. And my answer to failure or to setbacks is to keep creating. Create, and then create some more. Just don't stop. Even if you want to stop, keep going.
That's great advice. So we have people that, it's pretty common for your first product. It's a daunting task. We have very specific criteria where we're telling, believe me, Rich Henderson, Jay, Jason and Matt and I talk. The criteria we're telling people is don't go for the most competitive product, but find something that sells 10, 15, 20 a day. That's a sweet spot we're guiding you to. It means it can take a while to get there and find the right product. But like Jay's saying, don't give up. You'll find it. And, if you don't find it today or tomorrow or this week, don't give up. Jay's perfect example of that. And I hope, you guys also heard what Jay was saying. There will be setbacks. No one's painting the perfect picture that, after 8 weeks, you have a business that'll never have a problem. Having problems and how you overcome them like Jay's done is what makes or breaks a success for you. It's what really will. I don't know, but Jay, I mean, so you talked about a product that you had to pretty much, give up. Is that correct? A really successful one?
I've had a couple of products that I've had to give up. And you know what? I have so much admiration, and I don't want to sound like, corny or, kiss ass or whatever. You know me better than that. But the people who are watching this right now, you know how rare it is that somebody makes a commitment to buy a course like this and actually to follow it and to watch a video. 99.99% of the planet doesn't do this. They're content to let life pass them by. These guys, you're taking action. This is so freaking beautiful. It's the only reason I do these things is because it moves me that people are brave enough to do this. It's so courageous that you get and you do this thing. It's just, I don't have words.
Yeah, you guys are already successes in our minds, and that's not us blowing any smoke up anywhere. Trust me. Let's try to let me get to a few more questions for you, if you don't mind. Then,
sure.
So wow, we have a lot of questions. Oh, here we go. So for your first product you were selling, it sounds like you kept selling more and more and more. How much inventory did you have of that product? Do you remember? And how long did it take you to reorder if you ran out?
These guys are asking freaking great questions. I love these questions. This is exactly the issue that I was challenged with. Like, how do I get enough product? I was air shipping everything in, everything. As fast as I could get it, I was air shipping it. And it was managing. You have to kind of like look at your inventory and go, how much am I going to need? How much am I selling per day? When am I going to run out? You got to call the factory and go, I'm going to need this amount, and be on the phone with them, talk to them. Well, planning is so essential. Sit down and plan in writing everything out daily, sometimes even hourly. When you get to that level, you're, first of all, the guy who owns the factory literally becomes your best friend. You will be up at 3 a.m. talking to him. You're going to be like, you're going to love him. He's going to love you, but plan it out really carefully and don't get shorthanded. If you do get shorthanded, you can do FBM. I don't know if you've talked to him about FBM.
Yeah, not yet. We'll get to that at some point. Yeah.
Okay, good. So there are solutions around that, which I'm happy to share with you at another meeting, but there's no reason to not have inventory. There's definitely ways to manage that.
Yep. And now for the first product, one thing is if you guys do run out, it's a good sign, everyone. You got a great product,
Great problem to have.
It is. And and literally everyone that I know is brand new to this has run out 1 or 2 times. It's by the time you realize that you have a product that you're going to need to reorder, it's too late.
Right.
And definitely, so if you can have a small and light product that can be shipped by air, like a lot of Jay's products, that's definitely a benefit. But if you can't and you got to go by ocean, that's okay too. Just start visualizing your success. If you don't have the money now to order your second order, start thinking about when you're going to place your second order, even before your first order goes live. That'll help make that happen.
Yep.
Let's see. So we got a lot in here. Someone's going to Yiwu to source products. Have you been to Yiwu? And if so, do you have any advice on how to get the most out of going there?
I have not personally been to Yiwu. I've been to other parts of China, Canton, Hong Kong, Shenzhen. I have bought products from Yiwu. And my opinion about Yiwu is that it's a crapshoot. Sometimes you're going to get good products. Sometimes you're not going to get good products. You've got a lot of people selling there. It's huge. And I have friends who will not buy from Yiwu. They just won't buy from Yiwu because it's too risky. I have other people I know who have had some success. So I say if you want to go to Yiwu, one of the products I sell now actually is an Yiwu. I'm literally selling it right now. And this factory calls me up and tells me what's hot. And she makes it for me. So I just be careful with Yiwu is all I can say.
Okay. So do your due diligence is what he's saying. Go there. Don't cancel your trip.
No.
A lot of people are asking questions about agents. So you have a great agent or maybe 1 or 2 of them. How would you, if you were new to this, how would you look for an agent at this point in time? Or would you not look for one right now? It's something you do later on.
I would kind of, that's a really good question. And I don't want to give you an off the cuff answer.
Yeah.
The agents, that I hook up with are recommended to me by people I trust.
Okay.
And I think that if you want an agent, it's really hard to shop for one. It's usually somebody comes to me and says, hey, I got this great agent, and they have a track record. But I've never had to actually find one that wasn't recommended to me by somebody else.
Okay. Someone's asking us, it's kind of like for us, would it be a good idea for ASM to start gathering a list of reliable agents that people could use? It's not a bad idea. What are your thoughts on that, Jay? Is the problem that agents can only handle so many people, or do you think that would be a good idea? You know what, just like think about you're a part of ASM. Would it be good to have a list of 20 agents for everyone to choose from, or is that kind of a not so good idea? Or do you want to think about that?
I know that different agents specialize in different product lines, will make certain types of things. Other factories or in different parts of China will make different things. Like you're going to have certain types of wind-up toys, for example, will only be good in one part of China. So you don't want an agent who's in Shenzhen or Hong Kong trying to find you products that are in north. But I think if you could set it up where the agents were specialized in certain regions and certain types of products, I think it could be great. I would use it.
So Jay brings up a great point. I never knew this until a few years ago. China's manufacturing is very region specific. All the knives are made in one area. All lighting's made in another area. Camping's made in another area. Kitchen's made in one area. And so the agents are very specialized. They can't travel more than, like 300-400 miles from their home through the week. So they're very specialized to that. So I'll take that down. I'll talk with Jason, Matt, and Rich and see if there's a way we can help. Maybe come up with some way to help people find agents when you're ready for that. That's a great suggestion.
Look at that. Look what happened here. Yeah. This is a complete example of a mastermind, right?
Yeah.
the person asks a question. This is how it happens. Great things happen when you mastermind and you work with people who are like-minded.
So true. Okay, here's that. Hopefully it's an easy one. Hi, Jay and Mike. Do we need to have a third-party lab certified by the Consumer Product Safety Commission for selling toys on Amazon?
I have not done that for stores. Yes. You want to make sure you do all the testing, drop tests, fire testing, have the small parts label on there, all the things you would need for a toy. I always have like a lab do it for me. There are a few good labs. Intertech is one. There are a couple other ones that are really good, and I just give it to them and they do it. For Amazon though, I'm less picky. My products don't offer me the toy standard, which is much stricter than for pens, for example. But for Amazon, I really wouldn't worry about it right now.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because Amazon doesn't require you to have that, right?
I don't think they require much.
Yeah, well, that's true. All right. I noticed some of our Chinese suppliers are marking up the price of the products. How do you get Chinese suppliers to lower the price of products?
I have this weird strategy with these Chinese guys. I never negotiate with them in the beginning, ever. I take whatever price they want to give me. I don't care if they're jacking me up, because all I'm doing is testing it and seeing if I'm making money. I know when I come back for that second order, the third order, and it's a bigger quantity, I can get them down. The important thing I look for is if the quality is good and I can establish that relationship. And I know people who don't do this. They want the best price right now, but I'm interested in establishing a line. When you go back and forth with the product, shipping and paying, you establish like a bridge between you guys. It's almost a tangible bridge. And that bridge, when it's time to negotiate, they know who you are. They've done business with you. You can negotiate easier. But if you do it right off the bat, they're going to go, we don't know who this person is. They're already trying to get us down 25 cents. It's only for 1,000 pieces or 500 pieces, whatever it is. I wait. That's just my viewpoint.
We're exactly the same way. I mean, I think in the training we have I don't know who would have did this in the training, some curly-haired, funny-looking guy, but I think I said the best way to negotiate a better price is to sell out of your first batch of inventory.
You got it.
That's going to show them who you are.
Yeah.
And plus, to us, or to a supplier, 25 cents off a product is probably a pretty big deal. To us, when we're selling and marking things up, that's not nearly as much of a deal. So that's why I'm the same way. I never worry about that nickel and diming in the first order, especially. And even when I negotiate later on, I'll still negotiate. But for me, it's the relationship. With the next time you run out of order and you want them to airship something in, you'll be thankful you didn't try to get them to lower your product by a dime.
Completely right. And one of the products that I was selling when it was really doing well, I paid more for this product. So, well, everybody else had nickel and dime this factory down. And when the quantity was there, I always got the quantity because I was paying more. And the other people were thinking, oh, we got the best price. I'm going, yeah, you got the best price, but you have no goods. I've got the goods. So pay a little bit more. You'll get the goods. You'll get them faster, and you'll build a relationship. You're paying your 25 cents in your case. You're paying the 25 cents for that speed, for the increased quantity, and for the improved relationship. It's worth a quarter, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it really is. The first time that we were a deal of the day on Amazon, we had to order 12,000 units of inventory. And at that point in time, we didn't have the cash to do that. No matter how, that's, hundreds of thousands of dollars that was an order. And so we offered to pay our supplier 7% more of his cost, of our cost, which literally was probably like 50 cents more a unit, to help us finance it. So as you can imagine, though, he was happy as all get out, and we got a 12,000 unit order. We didn't have to, front the cash on, and everyone made money. Amazon, us, and our supplier. And it's an example of Jay saying, that relationship that you get built out of them is so much more important than a nickel or a dime. Oh, let's see. Okay. A lot of questions about customizing, about collaborating. Someone says they love you, Jay. You're like a kid in a candy store, but it's a really big candy store.
Who was that? Who said that?
Hold on. They scroll down here. Where'd they go? They're going too fast here. All right. As soon as Andrea Donar.
I love you, Andrea.
All right. I'm giving a love to her comment in your name, as a matter of fact. So let's see the next thing. After you launched, so how many products do you have live right now on Amazon?
I think I have like 10 products live right now.
Excellent.
I've got like maybe 7 or 8 more, and actually like probably 10 more that are very close to coming out. Yeah.
And do you have employees helping you?
Yeah, I've got one assistant. It's really cool. Beth. I love Beth. I knew her dad when I was 17 years old, and now I'm in my 50s. And she works for me. She's been working for me for 7 years, 8 years, and she's actually leaving next week to have a baby, her second baby. So we're all like family. Like my employees, people I work with, we're family. I love them. I care about them. And that's what this Amazon business can do. You work from your house. I got my dog somewhere over here. It's just a great, to be able to work from your home with people you love and not have to clock in or clock out. But yeah, I have employees. Okay. And I have virtual assistants too, which are really important. I don't know if they've gotten to that on the course.
Yeah, not yet. So we'll talk about that in the last week, about how once you start selling and making some money, we're going to talk all about scaling and ramping up. And you're a great example of that. Let's see. Okay, here's a good one. So people love your custom products ideas. So Steve is asking, is launching a never seen before product extremely hard to do as a new person, or would you recommend to sell an existing product first before attempting a brand new idea?
I would sell to start, get your education with an existing product. It's because you're looking at two variables. You're learning how to do the business of sourcing, shipping, marketing, keywords, all that stuff. And you're trying to learn the business of making a product, right? It's too much at one time. This is like if you went to college to learn this, what would you pay about $7,500, $100,000 for a few years?
Yeah.
And you would leave with no money. You just leave with a big debt. Here, you're just paying your money for a product. You're selling it. You're learning the ropes. Down the road, you can start making your own stuff. And it's relatively simple. I can teach you guys how to make a sample of a product and what to do in like 5 minutes. It's like people make it complicated. It's so freaking easy.
You know what? I see right now? I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if Jason's listening right now. Rich is. I think there's a perfect opportunity for a little add-on lesson at some point on creating custom products. Once everyone's got their first product up and selling, that would be something great for you to talk about. Or maybe a live event presentation, Jay. I don't know.
Sure. I mean, I love going to the live events, man. I get the energy from that crowd. It's awesome.
I keep bringing that up because I love it. Tell as many people as possible. We are getting really low in time here. We're actually late already. I'm so sorry, Jay, that I kept you over the time. I do. I know we got everyone on the call here. There's a lot of questions out there. I'm so sorry we couldn't get to them, but hope you guys are okay with this. I'd love just talking with Jay and asking about his experiences. Look at that product right there. That is not Jay's real hand, in case you're wondering. Jay wears nail polish, and that one doesn't have any on there. So that's like
second hand. It's dirty. Second hand.
And what was the other thing you showed me earlier too?
Oh, my Saturday Night Fever mouse, John Travolta.
That is awesome.
And then we got this was something I created a while ago. This is my Big City Mouse. It was based after Frank Sinatra. Now, I don't do things smart sometimes. I actually, because I wanted to maintain the image, I actually created this with a cigarette in his hand. Who makes a toy with a cigarette? This was done years ago. And I didn't think of it. I just, Frank Sinatra always had a cigarette. Let me make a mouse with a cigarette. Though. Bring it home.
That is awesome. You know what? That is worth 100 questions being answered.
Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh.
I caught you a delicious bath. Leave me alone, gosh.
I just got stuff all over my house that I've created. It's like
I would love to wander through your house, Jay, and just start playing with all the toys I see everywhere.
I'm not going to let you in my house because you're after my kilt. And I'm not going to give you
So true. Hey, can I ask you a favor? So we need to end this here because we promised people it'll be an hour. I promise I'll keep you an hour. You're amazing. We could go for 3, 4, 5 hours. Any chance that you would mind, as soon as the video closes here, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes, all the questions that are below will have that you can't reply to them right now, but after a few minutes when the video renders, you can actually reply to a few. Would you mind going through a few questions, maybe replying to a couple of people we couldn't get to their questions on here?
Where are the questions, Mike?
I'm going to send you a link as soon as the video gets done live streaming. Stay on our video call over here. I'll end the live stream. Then I'll give you instructions how to do that. Everyone else, if you don't mind, I would love for everyone to show a little love. Click on some love or whatever you want to under the video here. They should start scrolling all over the place. If you liked anything at all that Jay said. Okay. Look at that. Now they're coming in. It's like a fireworks factory.
Oh, thank you.
That is awesome.
I can't see it, but I'm taking your word that there's love coming my way. Thank you.
It's coming all over the place, brother.
Wow, thank you. That makes me feel really good. And I want to tell you, again, not to sound cliched or corny, and I don't know all of you personally, but I know your spirit, and I love you guys. I really do. I feel a lot of love. I feel the group, and I feel a lot of love for you, and I want you to succeed. I really want you to succeed, and I know you will. I really do.
Jay, the feeling is mutual from everyone here. I can tell you that. Thank you so much for joining us here. I can't wait to see you again. Hopefully I'll see you at the next live event. We can share a drink together and a laugh. Thanks so much, buddy. Everyone, thank you for joining us here. Remember, this recording will be here as soon as it's done rendering in a few minutes. You can watch us all over again. I know that I'm going to. Jay has graciously agreed to stick around for a few minutes. We're going to be respectful, kind of keep it like 10 minutes or less. But if you didn't get to one of your questions, stick around. He's going to be replying here. And thank you so much, Jay. Thank you, everyone from Amazing Selling Machine. All the people behind the scenes. Rich Henderson, love you, brother. I know you're not over 65. I joked about that, but I really had fun saying it. Jason, Matt, everyone else who's helping us out here, thanks so much. We'll see you all real soon. Tomorrow, see you at 3 p.m. Central on our coaching call. And tomorrow at 6 there's tomorrow at 3 p.m. We'll see you all there. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Jay, you hang on. Everyone else, we'll see you soon.
Okay, Mike. Bye.